Right, let's just jump straight into this explainer because we're looking at a tragedy so massive it literally altered the timeline of human progress. We are going to explore the rise, the magnificent peak, and the absolutely heartbreaking fall of Nalanda. This wasn't just a university, it was an entire civilization's mind, built completely on the radical foundation of absolute intellectual freedom.
Now 90. This number is wild. It represents the number of days that a single library burned. 90 days. Just try to think about the sheer density of millions of palm leaf manuscripts required to fuel a roaring fire for 3 whole months. The sky above the ancient region of Magadha was completely choked with ash, and locals actually reported a black snow falling from the sky. But that wasn't just wood and paper burning, it was humanity's greatest achievements literally turning into dust.
Section 1. The Fire That Stole Time.
We're starting at this tragic end because this wasn't just a building going up in flames. It was the burning of a utopian future. That smoke choking the 12th century sky, it was carrying away the very foundations of modern science. We're talking about the incineration of Aryabhata's mathematics, including the concept of zero. You know, the thing powering the device you're watching this on right now. It burned Nagarjuna's advanced chemistry and Sushruta's complex surgical techniques for mending broken bodies. Historians actually suggest that if this knowledge hadn't turned to ash, the entire world could have been pushed 500 years ahead of its time. We lost centuries of global scientific and philosophical progress in a single blaze.
Section 2. Light in the Dark Ages. To really grasp the sheer scale of what was lost, we have to rewind about 700 years before that catastrophic fire, to the Gupta Empire. Think about what the rest of the world looked like back then. Medieval Europe was deep in the Dark Ages, right? And believing the earth was flat, treating diseases as witchcraft, with literacy hoarded by a tiny elite. But over in India, it was a true golden age. They were building this incredible academic empire with rigorous scientific standards. Scholars at Nalanda were mathematically calculating the causes of solar eclipses, studying advanced human anatomy, and having these high-level logical debates. They were conducting peer-reviewed empirical science while so much of the world was just relying on superstition.
Section 3. The Ultimate Intellectual Freedom.
So, what was the engine behind this massive scientific supremacy? It boils down to a radical, almost unbelievable level of intellectual freedom. Just look at the name itself. Derived from Sanskrit, Nalanda translates to the unstoppable, continuous source of knowledge. And honestly, it really was. This wasn't your standard university. It was humanity's first fully residential campus. Picture a massive, 10-kilometer ancient Google headquarters where 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers lived and breathed knowledge together. Visiting Chinese scholars were so blown away by the architecture, they wrote that the observatory roof seemed to literally drink the clouds.
But actually getting into this place? Brutal. You couldn't just submit an application. You had to physically walk thousands of miles from places like China, Korea, or Persia, and then face the ultimate entrance exam, a debate with the gatekeeper. This master scholar would just grill you on logic and science. And as the numbers show, only about 20% of applicants actually survived this debate. 80% got rejected. Just making it past the front gate made you an absolute legend back home.
And once you made it inside, the craziest thing happened. All societal ranks just completely vanished. It literally didn't matter if you were a king's son or a poor farmer's son. You got your head shaved, you wore the exact same robes, and you ate from the exact same plates. This was a fiercely egalitarian environment, thousands of years before modern thinkers even conceptualized a classless society. Here, your only rank was your ability to seek the truth.
And the truth was a wide-open landscape. They taught everything: Buddhist philosophy, logic, medicine, grammar, even atheism. Their core unwritten motto was basically doubt everything, question everything. They didn't believe truth was locked in one single book. You had to dive into every ocean of thought, even if it totally contradicted your own religion. You actually encouraged challenger teachers. So in a world ruled by kings and strict dogma, Nalanda was this ultimate safe space for dangerous, revolutionary ideas.
Section 4. Humanity's Ancient Backup Drive. Let's look at the physical heart of all this freedom, a massive library complex called Dharma Ganj. This was basically ancient humanity's cloud storage. Their archival practices were absolutely mind-blowing and super vital for preserving all these scientific advancements for the future. They stored texts in 3 massive buildings, including one named Ratnodadi that was a staggering 9 stories high, a literal mountain of knowledge. Inside, hundreds of scribes worked in this continuous loop by lamplight, meticulously copying older, fading manuscripts onto fresh, treated palm leaves so the data wouldn't decay.
And they were safeguarding everything: chemical formulas to forge rust-free iron, complex architectural blueprints, deep psychological texts. Through this incredibly rigorous process, they amassed an estimated 9 million manuscripts. 9 million. Just think about that for a second. If some kind of apocalypse had wiped out the rest of the world, this 9-story mountain was the ultimate backup drive. It could have literally rebooted human civilization from scratch. But, tragically, that kind of unimaginable intellectual power attracts a very specific kind of enemy.
Section 5. A dictator's fragile ego.
This brings us to Bakhtiyar Khilji, an ambitious military commander, and his incredibly fragile ego. See, the destruction of Nalanda wasn't some grand military strategy. It was sparked by a bizarre, deeply personal sequence of events. In 1193 AD, Khilji gets gravely ill. His royal doctors totally fail. So his advisors desperately suggest bringing in the head of medicine from Nalanda. But Khilji, completely blinded by pride, refuses to swallow medicine from an infidel. So the Nalanda scholar gets creative. Understanding both human psychology and advanced chemistry, he invisibly coats the corners of the pages of Khilji's Quran with an Ayurvedic cure. As Khilji licks his fingers to turn the pages, he unknowingly ingests the medicine and is completely cured.
Now, normally, you'd be pretty profoundly grateful, right? Not Khilji? He felt this intense, jealous paranoia. He realized that a society with that kind of profound intellect and scientific mastery couldn't easily be subjugated by mere swords. To a dictator, independent thought is the ultimate threat. It drove him crazy that this open pursuit of knowledge belonged to unarmed monks studying the stars instead of his own empire. So he makes this absolutely chilling decision to just eradicate the source of this intellectual freedom completely.
What happened next wasn't even a battle. It was just a one-sided slaughter. Iron versus ideas. Khilji's forces swept into the totally undefended campus. Thousands of unarmed scholars, many of them just sitting deep in meditation, were systematically beheaded. The pristine marble floors literally ran red. And then came the order to torch the 9 million manuscripts. It was just pure madness, permanently destroying 800 years of carefully curated intellectual heritage.
Section 6. Rebirth of an idea. For centuries after those fires finally died out, Nalanda just lay silently beneath the dirt. It became a forgotten crime scene of human history. Locals actually thought the mounds of earth were haunted, completely unaware that the greatest treasure of the ancient world slept right under their feet. Until, slowly, it started to wake up. In the 19th century, an archaeologist named Alexander Cunningham followed the ancient diaries of Chinese monks and excavated the ruins, finding the charred bricks that testified to the massacre. Fast forward to 2006, and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam proposes a civilizational rebirth. And by 2014, backed by nations all across Asia, a modern, environmentally net-zero Nalanda campus officially opened its doors. It proves a really powerful point. Dictators can burn paper and slaughter scholars, but ideas are like seeds. They just wait patiently in the soil for the right season to sprout again.
Which brings us to today. I'll leave you to ponder this. In our modern information age, we have way more data now than Nalanda could have ever dreamed of. But do we have their wisdom? Are we nurturing new Khiljis through social media algorithms that demand conformity? Or are we the true heirs of Nalanda's intellectual freedom? The ruins of Nalanda are basically a mirror. They ask us if we still have the courage to debate, to doubt, and to champion free thought. Are we building a society of free thinkers, or are we quietly letting the fire burn our future all over again? Think about that, and keep questioning.